When you walk into a heavily guarded compound, you quickly realize the game does not just play with stealth as a simple light and shadow mechanic, but pays attention to how guards react to subtle distractions, dynamic pathing, and environmental interactions. It is a grounded approach and it tells you almost everything you need to know about how this title treats its world. Welcome to Nullplayer Paradox. I am Castigator and today we are looking at 007 First Light, developed and published by AIO Interactive on their proprietary Glacier engine. It puts you in the shoes of a 26-year-old James Bond during his early days moving from the Royal Navy into MI6, combining stealth, tactical shooting, and gadgets into a pure single-player experience. The story opens in a surprising way. Rather than giving you a slow burner, the game begins with a Call of Duty style introduction that functions as both an exciting hook and a smooth tutorial. It sets up the origin story of a young James Bond brilliantly. The plot keeps you hooked with constant twists, political conspiracies, and genuine surprises without ever losing its pacing. What I appreciated most is that when the story reaches a point where most games would roll the credits, it keeps going and gives you two full extra missions that resolve the arc properly. Everything that makes James Bond feel like James Bond is present in great detail.
See you around, John.
All right, Romeo, snap out of it.
A large part of why that narrative hits so well comes down to the characters. James Bond is introduced as a grounded developing agent rather than an untouchable superhero, making it easy to connect with his journey right from the start. The supporting cast is given equal care. Characters do not feel like a bland exposition dumps or afterthoughts meant only to serve Bond's storyline. Every major character gets sufficient screen time, clear motivations, and expressive performance capture that brings real emotion to their interactions. The environments you explore throughout these missions are remarkably detailed and feel genuinely lived in. Whether you are moving through quiet indoor spaces or expansive open areas, the world design offers immense freedom in how you approach your objectives. Every location feels distinct and full of small visual details that ground the setting. You are given plenty of space to explore, scout out paths, and decide whether you want to move in quietly or cause complete chaos. That freedom carries directly over into the core gameplay loop. You can clearly feel the influence of IO Interactive's own Hitman series here, along with traces of combat from the Batman Arkham series and hacking gadgets from Watch Dogs. The game starts at a measured pace, teaching you how to use social bluffs, investigation mechanics, and stealth, but it gradually scales up into massive high-energy encounters. While the gameplay loop can feel slightly repetitive toward the final stretch if you are clearing out every optional angle, the strong narrative momentum keeps the experience feeling fresh.
Where were we?
Christ, half of Kensington would have heard that. Did you get a car?
Combat itself strikes an interesting balance between stealth and aggressive gunplay. The hand-to-hand combat mechanics are snappy and satisfying, and the stealth systems give you plenty of tools to clear rooms quietly. Driving mechanics are solid as well and serve as a nice break from infantry movement, complete with subtle features that fit the real-world logic of the vehicle you drive, including high-performance cars like Aston Martin Valhalla. However, combat can become genuinely frustrating during specific encounters. Enemy forces will frequently swarm you from every angle, flooding your position with gunfire and rushing your cover simultaneously. You will die a lot in these scenarios, and while it creates a rewarding tactical challenge once you overcome it, the sudden spikes in enemy volume can irritate a bit at times.
I'm hit! He's stuck! Move him out! Lost it!
Where the game runs into its most obvious limitation is in its customization options. While you can select your gadgets for operations, the single-player story mode mostly restricts you to cycling through preset equipment. Bond automatically changes his outfits and visual presentation to fit specific missions, which looks great visually and keeps things thematic. But if you want to freely customize your outfits, weapons, skins, and gear, almost all of those options are locked strictly to tech sim mode. For players focusing purely on the main main campaign, the lack of deep loadout customization feels like a missed opportunity. Getting used to how James Bond moves and handles takes a brief adjustment period. At the very beginning, shooting sequences can feel slightly stiff or slow, which might make your first few gunfights feel a bit clumsy. However, once you spend an hour or two with the controls, everything clicks into place. The control scheme is intuitive and fast, and once you get comfortable with the rhythm of switching between stealth, melee, and firearms, the movement feels natural, fluid, and pleasantly chaotic during heavy action. Visually, the game is a genuine showcase for the Glacier engine. Every natural environment is a spectacle to observe, with lighting setups and architecture rendered in great detail. Character models look realistic with subtle facial animations and performance capture that make conversations and cutscenes feel natural rather than stiff.
Get some well-deserved rest.
The audio presentation matches the quality of the visuals. The sound design is crisp and punchy without being overly loud or distracting during heavy firefights. The voice work featuring Patrick Gibson as James Bond alongside Lenny James and Gemma Chan is fantastic across the board, and the dynamic dialogue system is impressive. Characters have specific lines for almost any scenario, which really enhances the immersion. On top of that, the musical score by The Flight and the main theme by Lana Del Rey and David Arnold give every mission a proper cinematic identity, while the low-key humor in the dialogue lands naturally. When you look at the technical performance, the optimization is immediately noticeable. Running everything on maximum settings produces a remarkably smooth experience that is extremely efficient on your hardware, especially on the GPU side. Frame rates remain stable through heavy firefights and dense environments. The only real technical hiccup you will encounter is an occasional tiny object popping in or ground texture taking a fraction of a second to render fully, mostly during fast driving sequences. Whether that comes down to frame generation or DLSS is hard to say, but it happens so rarely and disappears so fast that it barely registers while playing. Along with that solid performance, the game is remarkably clean when it comes to stability and bugs. I did not experience a single crash throughout my entire playthrough, nor did I run into any major bugs. You might occasionally notice a floating object hanging in the air or feel like the driving physics make your car swerve a bit sharply to the left or right during high-speed chases, but these moments are minor interruptions in an otherwise extremely stable technical package. Even the end credits show a thoughtful touch. While you cannot skip them entirely, you can speed them up using the down arrow key or slow them down with the up arrow key on an Xbox controller. Despite occasional moments of combat irritation, the overall fun factor remains consistently high from start to finish. Haven't had this much fun with a game in a while. I simply couldn't put it down. The pacing of missions, the variety of tools, and the sheer freedom in how you handle objectives keep you hooked throughout the entire runtime. 007 First Light manages to deliver a thrilling cinematic and action-packed single-player experience that captures the early life of James Bond better than any title before it. Taking everything into account across performance, design, story, and gameplay, the game earns an overall final score of 95%, securing the award for the pinnacle of a single-player experience. That is all for this video. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe to this video, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Keep watching, keep playing.
I am told you have some missing baggage.
Stolen is more likely.
Any idea where he went?
Yes, that's what I've been telling you people.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like the video, comment, or subscribe for more. It really helps the channel out and I truly appreciate it a lot. Take care, keep watching, and keep gaming.